Hey everyone, today's adventure takes us just a little north of Gary, Oklahoma. We're going to go down a lot of dirt, rocky roads, and we're looking for one man that had a lot to do with old Western culture. His name is Jesse Chisholm, and I'm sure you've heard of him before, or at least his namesake, because of the Chisholm Trail. Down a bumpy and rocky road to get to where Jesse Chisholm is buried. So you end up going a little bit of everywhere, but if you start in Gary, Oklahoma, and just follow the signs, it shouldn't be a problem. As you make your way all the way down this trail, it just kind of curves to the right. It's just a narrow, bumpy, rocky road. And then you'll see this memorial marker right there. We'll get out and take a look. As you come to the end of this dirt, rocky road, you'll see this memorial marker right here. It has some bars around it to protect it from getting hit from cars and tractors, stuff like that. At the top, you'll notice that there's an etching of him. And we'll just read this memorial marker and see if there's anything that we can add to it that's not listed, because this is sort of a short story here. But it says, Jesse Chisholm was born in Tennessee in 1805 of Scottish and Cherokee descent. Jesse Chisholm came to Indian Territory in the 1820s, and for 40 years he operated the trading posts near Asher, Purcell, Watonga, Oklahoma City. Also a guide freighter, interpreter, salt works owner, and peacemaker. Few men in the territories were so well known by the Indian. Due to this, part of his freighting route became known as the Chisholm Trail. He died on March 4th, 1868, after eating bear meat cooked in a copper kettle, and was buried near Left Hand Spring allotment of his old friend Chief Left Hand, northeast of present Gary. The inscription on his grave, "No one left his home cold or hungry," is a tribute to the character of this rugged individual. And so it says that the Oklahoma Historical Society erected this in 1976. Now, I'm not sure how much I can add to this, but I do know a little bit more. I do know that his father was the one of Scottish ancestry, and that his mother was of Cherokee ancestry. And he moved to Oklahoma with his mother, and back then, in the 1820s, this was ahead of the Trail of Tears. Now that was kind of a volunteer type deal. There was a lot of Cherokees that actually did that. He came here to Oklahoma like so many others. There were also Cherokees that went down to Texas, and they're referred to as the Texas Band of Cherokees, the TBOC. But anyways, he came to Oklahoma, and it was here that he was, it's saying that he was a peacemaker. He was kind of the one that worked for the federal government to interpret and talk to a lot of the Plains Indians. And what he did was he took some of the trails that were here used by the Indians and old military type trails, and then he improved them so that he could get down through here with his wagons. And so that's exactly what he did here. Is he had a whole network with these trading posts all over in Indian Territory, and he eventually lived in the area of Wichita, Kansas. Now, he kind of lived all over as he was going up and down these trails. But like it says, I did know that he died of food poisoning is what that is. He was eating bear meat cooked in a copper kettle, and basically within 24 hours It's thought that this bear meat had some sort of reaction in this copper kettle, and he died. And so his Indian friends buried him right where he died. And then he was discovered by someone else. I believe it was a white person that was trying to find him, and he just happened to stumble across his grave, and it was a wooden marker at that time. Now hopefully there's not too much of a glare here, and we'll try to block it out with the sun. But right down there is the site of his actual grave. And so we're going to walk down through there. Now I'm already getting bit by chiggers and stuff like that as I'm out here. What's sad is I guess there's a lot of people that come out here and drink beer because it's just down the end of a road. Probably some juvenile kids that aren't even allowed to drink in the first place. Like I said, I'm trying to keep the sun out of the camera. It's kind of fitting because this is an Old West character, and the sun is setting in the west right now, so that's pretty cool, but it's not cool that it's creating a glare. And we'll just see. Right here is his grave, and we'll see if we can get down behind the little trees right here so it's not so bad. So they also have these metal bars around here, so his grave is not ran over with a tractor or anything. Now on this, I know that marker up there kind of said, we'll just lean over, and it says Jesse Chisholm, although it's missing the J. And then it says born 1805, died March 4th, 1868. No one left his home cold or hungry. So the sad thing about this is you can see a few coins that have kind of been left here and blown off, and they're in the dirt or in the cement there. But I think that, like so many other people that are big named in the old Western type culture, a lot of times you see it with outlaws, but this right here, obviously it's protected with this metal enclosure, these metal bars that have been erected here. So I think what happens is people come out here and they want a souvenir of these markers, and so they chip off some of that and take it home. So you can see where it's been done all on this one side, and then you can see where it's been done right down there. And it is kind of sad that people do that. I don't understand why. I mean, what can you do with that souvenir rock chip? I mean, you can't really sell it on eBay or anything like that. I mean, do you just have a collection of rocks from all over that, hey, these are the people from the Old West? So it always kind of bothers me when people do that. Something like this, I'm not sure who owns the land, and it looks like the Historical Society is the one that paid for this, so it's not exactly easy to come by, and these marble headstones are pretty expensive. But anyways, like it says down at the bottom, no one left his home cold or hungry. And he was known to be a very caring guy. He took in a lot of drifters, orphans, people like that were Native Americans, and gave them something to eat, a place to live, maybe even a job, you know, like his trading posts and stuff like that. Gave him some sort of responsibility and a way to sort of help him out while he helped them out. So he was a very generous man, and as you can see, he died in 1868. Now he has been gone for 150 years. Which is a long time. I mean, he's one of the first people that's, you know, making some sort of trade with the Indians here, and a substantial trade system that he established in the Indian Territory. And so he would have passed here, would have had a wooden marker originally, and this has been placed here much later. Now, he would have followed this little creek that I think is probably that way, because you can kind of feel the land sloping. And back then, you know, they didn't have GPS or a map or anything like that, so you know, he would tell the Native Americans, just meet me near the hill. And it might be near the river on a hill or something like that, or he name a certain tree or something like that. And so that's basically what this is. And so he was buried right where his near his trading trail is, and the meeting area where he was going to trade with them. So it is a neat piece of history. Now, you may recognize the name Chisholm, and everybody has probably heard of the Chisholm Trail. It gets its namesake from Jesse Chisholm. Now, he wasn't involved with how the trail became famous per se. That was a big time cattle trail that went from Texas up into Kansas. Basically, there was a lot of longhorn cattle, and these longhorn cattle that were down there sort of in Texas were transported along this trail system, and a lot of it was the trail system that he created with his trading posts. And so they moved these longhorn cattle, kind of grazed them up through Oklahoma to let them fatten up, and didn't necessarily speedy rush them, kind of moved them through, would let them eat a little bit, fatten up, and then take them on to trains where they were shipped back east. The reason for that is there was so many heads of cattle in Texas that they brought at that time period about $3 a head. Now, there was a shortage of meat with everything happening back east. You know, the Civil War was over and they were rebuilding cities and stuff like that. So as they're rebuilding these areas, they needed meat. Well, if they shipped this meat off to Chicago and New York, they could bring anywhere from $40 upwards to $60 a head of cow. And that's a big difference between the $3 that they would bring in Texas. So that's why they would move mass amounts up through Oklahoma and into Kansas, where they would get on rail lines and then shipped back east. So that trail was used up until the opening of the Indian Territory. And so when that happened and land started getting settled, the barbed wire fence started coming in, and that really put a into the Chisholm Trail, because you can't run cattle through fences. And between that and the railroad systems that were getting established here in Oklahoma, those two things, the railroads and the barbed wire fences, just put the nail in the coffin on the Chisholm Trail. But there are a lot of things in the area dedicated to the Chisholm Trail. The whole Chisholm Trail has his namesake, Jesse's namesake, but you can see a couple museums that we have here in Oklahoma, and I know that there is a memorial down in Texas to the Chisholm Trail, and I think it talks about Jesse Chisholm. I haven't been to see it, but this is the only place that you can visit that is strictly him, because I don't know of any actual trading posts or anything like that that are standing. If you do know of something like that, please leave a comment below. I would love to visit those. If there's some kind of can't say it. If there's any kind of historic site, my tongue is twisted, the sun's kind of shining in my eye. But anyways, if there's some sort of site that's out there that you know about, and maybe I don't know about, but it's one of his trading posts or something like that, just leave me a comment and let me know. He's a fascinating man. And he does have family that's buried in Oklahoma, but it's more east. But anyways, I thought I would show you where he's buried. And like I said, you go down these roads, rocky roads from Gary, Oklahoma. It's probably about 9 miles outside of Gary, Oklahoma. Kind of, you go a little east, and then you go north, and then you kind of go left and right all over the place down these dirt rocky roads, and then you're going to find that marker eventually. It's no problem, just keep following the signs and it'll lead you directly here, and you'll see that at the end of the road. And just know, in case this gets overgrown or something like that, that his grave is down here. And you might want to, if you come out here in the summertime, you might want to learn from my mistake, and that is bring some bug spray, because there are some ants out here, as you can see right there, and they are biting me, and I'm getting bit by chiggers. So bring some bug spray. Come visit Jesse Chisholm. Definitely a guy that had a lot to do with the Old West, both when he was alive and after he was passed, because of the Chisholm Trail named after him, which was a mass movement of cattle trading from Texas to Kansas. So I hope you enjoyed this little story and this little adventure to come check out Jesse Chisholm and his burial location. If you enjoy these types of things, I do this fairly often. Finding graves is one of my favorite things to do, especially if they're famous or important characters of the Old West. And this fits both of that. So if you enjoy these types of things, please subscribe. Hit that like button for me. I mean, I'm going through ant bites and chigger bites for you guys. So also takes a little bit of time to research gas, stuff like that. But this one is really easy to find. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Look at these guys. You think you can bite me? Well, I guess you can. There's too many of you to kill. Let's get out of here. The pain of my legs, all for you guys. I don't think they like my cow whispering. Is that not how you say it? They're all staring at me. Crazy guy. Get out of here.